Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am back with another story time. I did get a lot of positive feedback from you guys when it comes to my stories, so I'm going to go ahead and continue telling them, and hopefully, you guys will continue to enjoy them. Now, today's story, as you can see by the title, is basically When Spirit Speaks. Today's story is going to focus on the house on Bay Street. And the story takes place in a small town in Florida, and it's in the city of Quincy. And basically, this is about a family that decided to move into a home together. It's a mother, her daughter, and her son. And it's just the three of them that decided to move into this home that their mom was able to buy at a very good price. And the landlord basically was able to work with her as far as getting everything situated. And the reason why they had to move into this place is because the mom was basically going through a divorce. And so she needed somewhere else to live. And this was the perfect place. Now, the thing about this house is the house was in a quiet neighborhood, like it was a safe neighborhood. And, the neighbors were good and friendly. But the only thing about this house is that right across the street was a cemetery. And this wasn't like a popular cemetery, just like a small cemetery that was kind of like hidden behind the woods. And the only way you could really see the cemetery is if you knew that it was over there, or if you actually like walked back into the woods to see that to see these different graves that were out there in the grounds. Like some of the graves didn't even have headstones. It was just like the basic stone that you see in the ground, and it had the person's name and the when they were born, when they died, different things like that. Now, the daughter of the family, her name was Amanda, and Amanda was currently pregnant at the time. And the reason that Amanda was living with her mom is basically because even though her mom was going through a divorce, Amanda was going through a breakup with the father of her child. So she really needed somewhere to stay. And of course, her mom was like, well, stay here. You can stay here until you have your baby and until you get basically settled and on your feet. And so Amanda decided to move in, of course, with her mom. But the thing about Amanda always had like a spiritual gift to where she could pick up on like different entities, paranormal things, different spirits. Like she always, since a child, always could see like shadows or bright lights. She just basically knew and could tell whenever there was a presence around. And that was a gift that Amanda basically had like her entire life. But the thing is, whenever Amanda would try and tell her mom, the things that she saw, of course, her mom was just kind of like, don't, like, you're crazy, don't worry about it. And like, this was coming from the time when she was, 5 years old, growing on up. And she would always explain to her mom, or always voice to her mom what she had saw. And so again, her mom would just, always basically just kind of blow it off and like blow her off and just be like, girl, you're so silly, you're so funny, you didn't see anything, you didn't hear anything, there's nothing there. So, go ahead and go about your day. And so over the years, Amanda basically decided that she was going to no longer, tell her mom about it. Like she was just going to basically hide her gift. But all along, she knew that, she could still feel and see stuff, but she just didn't say it. Now, when Amanda, her mom, and her brother went to go visit the house before moving in, Amanda immediately felt a presence within that home. And it was like, it was so heavy that it wasn't exactly a good presence. It was like a thick presence that basically did not want them there. And Amanda could feel it, but as they were walking through the home, of course, she didn't say anything to her mom about it, but she was just walking through and she could see shadows like go across the walls when they would go and look in the different rooms. She could just feel like as if she was not in there by herself, and that there's basically like a heavy presence within the home. So they went about, they did the house tour. Her mom went ahead and agreed to move into the home. But the thing is, the night before, Amanda had a dream. And in this dream, it was like as if she was reliving them, basically walking and taking a tour through the home. But in her dream, she could actually see the spirit that was there with them. And what she saw was like this angry older woman, like it was an old woman, and her face was like gray and like basically she just looked like death. But the thing about this woman is that she was very, very angry, and she was very upset because she did not want them moving into her home, basically. So it was like in a dream, as they were walking through the home, this angry spirit was just following them, and she was basically like cursing at him, like yelling at him. But the thing is, with the different realms, uh, Amanda and her family in a dream could not hear the spirit yelling at her. So it's like as they were standing there in the middle of the home talking to the guy that was selling the house to her, the angry spirit was just standing there. And then it got to the point where it got so upset and so angry that it just grew into like this big cloud of smoke, basically like a dark black smoke. And it just started circling Amanda, her mom, and her brother. And the circle was going so fast, like as if it was, just like a tornado speed. And basically the spirit was just like yelling and yelling at them and just like jumping at them and jumping back at them and stuff like that. And of course, in our presence, in our realm, they did not know all of this was going on. But the entire time, again, Amanda could feel the presence of this entity that really did not want them there. So, of course, the following week, Amanda and her family moved into the house. And at first, things seemed kind of quiet, kind of peaceful. Amanda really didn't like see too much activity going on. But then one night, it just seemed like it went from 0 to 10 as far as with the different paranormal, whatever you want to call it, spiritual activities that were going on within the home. And of course, the only person who could sense it was Amanda. So it was like she was washing the dishes one night and she just felt like a heavy presence behind her. Like she could feel the breath breathing on the back of her neck. And it was like she could feel the heat of it. And then, of course, when you suck in, it's like she could just feel it on the back of her neck. And she just stood there while she was washing the dishes and she didn't know what to do. She just kind of looked around. And she was afraid to look around because she felt like if she turned around, she was going to be looking at this thing face to face. But she just continued to stand there. She took a deep breath and just was like, okay, wash the dishes. It will eventually go away. Just wash the dishes. Don't give it any attention. Just continue doing what you're doing. And that's exactly what she did. So she went ahead, finished washing the dishes, and eventually the breathing stopped. But after she was heading to her room, she saw another big dark shadow just like zoom across the wall to the point where it kind of took her back. It scared her like what was that? Because it was so big and it went by so quickly that she really couldn't make out like as if it was just a spirit passing by or if it was this entity that was in the home. So about a good 2 to 3 months of this went on within the home, and Amanda, of course, was just keeping all of this to herself. Like she tried talking to her mom one time, and her mom just basically was fussing at her, and she said, like, this is a new beginning for us. Don't ruin it, and if anything, do not say anything to your brother because your brother is going to be scared, and he's going to be all on me, and he's not going to want to live here. So whatever you do, do not say anything to your brother about what you feel because what you're feeling obviously is not real. She's like, you've been doing this ever since you were a little girl. Like, Amanda, it's time to give it up. I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear any more about it. And Amanda was just kind of like, but Ma, it's so strong. I can feel it. It's like here. It's like standing here looking at us now. And her mom's just like, Amanda, no, we're not going to do this. I'm talking to you calmly. You need to leave it alone. So as time went on, within these few months that they were living there, it seemed like any kind of animal or pet that her brother wanted and they brought into the home would somehow, some way mysteriously die. And we couldn't figure out exactly what was going on and why these animals were just passing away back to back. And her mom was thinking maybe it was something in the water, or maybe it was like just the home itself that these animals could not basically live. Like nothing was really clicking in her mom's head, but Amanda had a feeling that her mom knew something was up, but she just didn't want to bring it up because of course she didn't want to scare her brother. So as the animals continued dying and weird and strange activities continue to happen, basically the family, Amanda and her family, just decided to still they still live there. Like they were still going to live about their regular days, and it's their home. So one night when Amanda was going to bed, she laid down, she went to sleep, and it's like during her sleep, she didn't know for sure if she was dreaming or if this was actually happening. But while she was sleeping, she all of a sudden felt two hands grasp around her neck. And it's like the hands were just squeezing tighter and tighter and tighter to where Amanda could basically not catch her breath. And during this time, it was like she couldn't move, of course, but she just felt like the presence and these hands just gripping her around her neck. So, of course, Amanda started calling upon the blood of Jesus. They're a very religious family. So she was calling on the blood of Jesus. She was just pleading the blood of Jesus, pleading, 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 until the hands had gotten so tight she could barely come out with any words. It was just kind of like ah, 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 in her sleep. And so finally the hands just let go. And when they let go, Amanda sat up, woke up and looked around. And like when she looked, she saw the shadow just go across her bedroom wall and leave outside the door. And so Amanda just sat there trying to gasp for breath, trying to realize what exactly had just happened. And then she just sat there, and next thing you know, she looks down and her water had broke. So of course they had to end up going to the hospital. Now when they got to the hospital, the doctors really could not understand why Amanda's water had broke so early, because Amanda wasn't due for another 3 months. But basically she had to end up staying at the hospital for them to, of course, stop the contractions and stop the baby from coming. And while Amanda was in the hospital, she told her mom what had happened. Like, she was crying, she was in tears, she was upset, and she was like, Mama, she's like, there's something in that house. Like, I don't know if I can go back to that house, especially in my condition. She was like, that spirit attacked me in my sleep. And her mom was just kind of like, she was looking upset, she was worried, and she was just like, Amanda, I don't know what to say. And Amanda was like, Ma, she was like, is there any way that we can not live in that house, or at least get the house cleansed by a pastor, anything? And her mom just kind of like, well, I do, I can talk to our pastor of church, and I can have him to come and anoint the home. And somehow, hopefully this will take the spirit away that you claim is in this home. And Amanda was just like, yes, Ma, please, just please anything, because I don't want to be attacked again in my sleep, and I don't want this spirit to harm my baby. So a few days later, Amanda ended up going back home from the hospital, and basically the pastor came and cleansed the home as Amanda had requested from her mom. Now, the thing about this is that what Amanda's mom did not share with Amanda is when the pastor was leaving, he had turned around to her mom and told her, he was like, there's something in this home. And Amanda's mom was just kind of like, well, what are you talking about? Like, what's in the home? And the pastor was just like, well, when I was doing a cleansing within the home and blessing each doorway, I saw this old woman, and she was standing there and she was upset. And Amanda's mom was just kind of like, what are you talking about? And the pastor was like, I did what I can do, but I do want to let you know, of course, what I saw. And so the pastor had asked Amanda's mom, has anyone else picked up on this spirit that's in this home? And Amanda's mom was just kind of like, should I tell pastor or should I not? Is pastor crazy, or am I crazy? And so she went ahead and shared with the pastor what Amanda had told her. And the pastor was like, well, this spirit is definitely after you guys, and of course it has an eye on Amanda because Amanda is expecting. And so with some spirits, like the pastor explained to her, with some spirits, they gravitate towards women who are expecting because that woman holds, a sense of purity within their stomach. Like they hold that sense of purity is such a great force of energy that the evil spirit or the entity can feed off of that, and it helps them to, of course, get stronger, and basically ends up, doing away with the people or anything that it wants, does not want around them. It ends up, getting rid of it. So this news basically just really upset Amanda's mom, and basically it took the pastor letting her know that there is in fact something in the home for her to believe Amanda. So as Amanda was resting, her mom just waited until she woke up from her sleep, and she basically went in there and told her what the pastor had told her about the spirit. And Amanda was like, "Ma, I told you there's something there. I've told you from day one before it's even moving in that there's something in this home." And Amanda's mom just apologized, and she's just like, "I'm so sorry. I just didn't want to believe you. I didn't want to believe that, this new adventure for us, this new endeavor would bring about, uh, evil entities or anything that would be basically bring about bad experiences." And so Amanda's mom thought about it, and she's like, "Well, how can we get rid of this spirit? Like, basically, what can we do?" And Amanda was just kind of like, "I don't know, Ma." She's like, "Well, maybe we can try and, do a seance and talk to it, see what it wants, see if we can help it out in any form or fashion." And so the mom thought about it. She was like, "I'm really not into doing this stuff. Like, this is, the devil's work. This is stuff that I really don't want to do. But then again, I don't want the spirit attacking my child." And so Amanda was like, "Well, Mom," she's like, I don't know what all we can do. That's all I can think about. So we might as well try and contact the spirit." So Amanda's mom went to the store basically and ended up purchasing a Ouija board. Them good old Ouija boards that everyone tells you to leave alone in order to do some kind of science and to contact the spirit. And so basically at the time where her mom was just like, "Well, we're gonna wait until your brother, of course, like is at school or he's at his friend's house or something like that, because we cannot have your brother in here while we're doing this. It's just gonna be you and me." And so one night when her brother ended up going to a friend's house for the night, Amanda's mom was like, "Okay, are you ready? This is the perfect time for us to do this." And Amanda just took a deep breath, and she's like, "Mom, I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared because I don't know exactly what's going to come through the board and talk to us." And Amanda's mom was just like, "Okay, it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay." So they went ahead, lit some candles, and of course put how you put your hands on the little I don't know what it's called, but the thing for the Ouija board. You put your hands on that, and they went ahead and they channeled the spirit. Now, while they were channeling the spirit, at first they couldn't get any like answers out of it. They were asking, "What's his name?" The pedal would not move basically, and they'd ask, "Well, why are you here?" Basically no kind of movement, nothing. And so Amanda just kind of looked at her mom. She's like, "Mom, let's just stop. We don't need to do this. The spirit obviously does not want to talk to us, so let's not try and make things worse." But Amanda's mom was like, "No, I want to get this done. I need to know what's going on, and I need the spirit out of our home." And so Amanda's mom just started like forcefully talking to the board, asking it, "Show yourself. What is it? Show yourself. Like, I'm tired of you, in my home. I'm tired of you messing with my daughter. You need to show yourself, and you need to show yourself now." And it's like right when she said now, the candles ended up blowing out, and they heard a big like boom in the kitchen. And so both of them kind of jumped and screamed. And Amanda was like, "Mom," she's like, you've pissed it off. You pissed it off. What did you do? Why did you do that? I told you, let's just leave it alone and stuff." And Amanda's mom just kind of sat there, and she's in shock basically. She just like, she looked down at the Ouija board, and she just started like opening her eyes like really wide, and she was like gasping for air. And Amanda was like, "Mom, what's wrong? What's going on and stuff?" And Amanda's mom was just like this. But the thing is, like, while she was gasping for air, it was like the game piece. I wish I knew the name of what it's called, but the game piece started moving, and it was spelling out different letters. And as it spelled out, Amanda was still trying to, get a hold of her mom, like, "Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And her mom was just standing there, still sitting there, out of breath, couldn't breathe, and just looking down at the game piece. And so as it moved, it went to the letter G, then it went to the letter E, and then it went to the letter T, and then it moved on to the letter O, the letter U, and then lastly again to the letter T. And of course, that spells get out. So after it got done with the last letter T of the word out, basically Amanda's mom was like, she was able to breathe and she was able to catch her breath and everything. And she was like, no, she's like, Amanda's like, tell her goodbye. You know, and they sat there and they told basically the board and the spirit goodbye. And it's like after that night, Amanda's mom ended up calling the landlord, of course, and told him that we would no longer be, living here. I really hate to leave, the home in such a short notice, but we cannot stay here. And of course, the landlord was just kind of like, well, why? What's going on? I thought you loved this home. This was a beautiful home. And her mom was just like, no, we can't. Like her mom was just like basically in a frantic state. And she was like, we can't stay here. We can't live here. And she's like, I'm packing up my stuff tonight and we will be gone by the end of this week. So it's like they ended up, of course, started packing things up, and they ended up staying basically at a friend of the family's home for those nights until they were able to move out of this home. And so it's like when they were finally able to move out, as they were leaving, Amanda turned around to look back at just back at the house, like, wow, like all this really went on in this home. And there's such a great spirit and entity in the home. And as she was looking back, she kind of noticed someone in the window staring back at them. And when she looked kind of closer, she was like, is that what I think it is? And what she saw was basically the old woman. But this woman, she was completely different from how she looked in her dream. She was like her normal self or normal person. And she just had like this nice, comforting smile on her face. Like she was just kind of like, that looks crazy. But she was just like that in the window, like, and Amanda was kind of like, she stared, and then all of a sudden the lady disappeared. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's story time, and hopefully I'll probably post another one this week. I'm gonna go ahead and record the other story so that it won't take so long to get the next one out. But of course, I do enjoy and thank you guys for returning to my channel. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, do feel free to leave them in the comment section. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.